Warning: this podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to the Viewers Anonymous podcast. I messed it up, but I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right, and this is the Viewers Anonymous podcast where we give you our very own reviews and takes from TV and movies straight out of Hollywood. What's going on, bro?
Oh, man, let me tell you, it's been just a thick yellow cloud of pollen down here, man. And it is affecting me, man, in ways I don't like. So
I hear that.
so if my voice don't sound like it normally does, man, pollen, man, is beating me up, man. I even got a headache. Like it's just, man, this shit is that's what should be called an epidemic, man, or whatever. Like this shit is nuts. But I'm good though, man. How you feeling? Everything good with you?
Man, I can't complain, man. I just been wore out, tired as hell, mentally exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Just a normal average day in the life, man.
Shit, that's understandable.
Yeah, buddy. But
Yeah.
man, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got a super interesting episode for you guys today. Um, this is a movie that was directed by Wes Craven. It's about some crazy folks doing some crazy stuff. And it's also a movie about why, you know what I'm saying, you should be cautious if you work at as a social worker or anything like that as to why you can put kids in certain houses, you know what I'm saying, for adoption and stuff like that, man. But today we're doing People Under the Stairs. So you said you've never seen this, right?
This is true.
Okay. So what was your thoughts?
Yo, listen. Okay, so first of all, if people didn't hear the last episode, this was, um, if I'm not mistaken, I think that this was our first like fan suggestion, and
Hmm.
so shout out to Jazz for giving us this suggestion, and so that's first thing. Okay, so let's get to this. Yo, I mean, look, shout out to Wes Craven, but I don't know what the fuck is going on here, yo. This plot in this storyline, it's like so fucking all over the place, dude. Like it is
Yeah.
like I literally could not follow like what's going on. It's like, okay, let me come up with a synopsis, right? So it's like these people staying in these like beat down fucking apartments and they
Hmm.
late, paying the landlord or whatever. But like people hear stories about the landlord, and it's like, so then you got this plot line of these people trying not to get kicked out of their apartment because this one guy knows about this gold that he has. like,
Yeah.
like Leroy said, they got this gold like buried in the house or whatever, whatnot. And then you get to the
Hmm.
house, and it's like, so then you got these two weirdo fucking people who are the landlords, but also adopting kids, and then there's this missing girl, and then you got a guy running through the wall, and then you got people like downstairs. It's like, yo, it's like, what the
There's a
fuck
lot
is
of shit
going
going
on
on,
here?
bro.
These people got a magical house with goddamn. You can open up the walls and guns come out them bitches, and you flipping
Hmm.
switches and locking doors, and I'm like, yo, like, what is going on here? I.
Yeah, this is a wild ass movie.
It was just the fact of it's all over the place. Like that's what threw me off because it's like, yo, like I can't even. It's like to me, there's not a perpendicular like storyline. It's like the shit
Hmm.
like jumps, and it's like so you hearing people talking about these like the landlord or whatever, but then at the same time, when we get to them, they got this whole other shit that's going on. But then then also they're talking about gentrification, but they're just saying it in a different type of way. Like they're doing it in the fact of like they're, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that they are like tearing down these buildings that they're evicting the people out of. It's just like the buildings are just going to shit and the people are living in bad conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they wasn't like doing it to kick the people out so they could tear it down and then, you know what I'm saying, build something, you know what I'm saying, extravagant or something. It was just like they just wanted the shit to get worse.
Right.
And then like, you know what I'm saying, I heard the little slick niggas in there. You know what I mean? How they threw them in there, but they threw them in there like, you know what I'm saying, low light. You know what I mean? Like they didn't make a big deal out of it. And I was just
Right.
like, okay. So dude, I'm still lost now. Like I don't even know what this movie is even about. To be honest with you, like, cause it was just all over the place for me.
Yeah. So so basically this movie is pretty much just about, you know what I'm saying, like a a dude in the ghetto, and you know what I'm saying, and really not even the ghetto, just in like a rundown, you know what I'm saying, neighborhood. And you know what I'm saying, the landlords are assholes and they slumlords for real. And he basically stumbles upon this house that supposedly, like you said, you know what I'm saying, got gold in it. And you know what I'm saying, him and his boy go in there, they go in there to look for some gold. Only to basically find out that it's a goddamn circus in this motherfucking house. There's all kind of shit going on in this house. And you know what I'm saying, they basically go through the house to try to find it. They end up in the basement. In the basement, they see all of these like weird looking kids. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much just trapped down in this little like cage or whatever that's under the stairs of the basement. And um, one of the kids he makes friends with, but somehow you know what I'm saying, the landlords, which is a husband and wife, ends up finding out that they there. His friend ends up getting killed. He ends up escaping. And you know what I'm saying? He basically decides to go back because it's this little girl there. And you know what I'm saying? After he find out that she may be missing, he decided to go back and save her. In the midst of going back and saving her, he basically helps the little girl defend herself. And then it's this one super weird looking kid that ends up, the one that's running through the walls, that ends up helping them. He ends up dying. The little boy and the little girl end up making it, and they burn the house down. So when I first saw this, right, like I was a kid, and when I tell you that was some of the freakiest shit I've seen in life, and I don't mean freaky like sexy freaky, I mean freaky like wild freaky. Like, but that shit creeped me. I hated this movie for a long time, bro. Like, my cousin made me watch this shit. We went to Blockbuster, and he rented this shit, and he was older, so like he was able to go, you know what I'm saying, like rent all those kind of movies and shit. Um, and so like watching this is one of those scary movies where it's not a scary movie per se, but this shit will hunt you after you get done watching it as a kid. You would definitely look at this movie and be like, I don't know, I don't know about this one, man. You know what I'm saying? This one is a little weird to me. But okay, so what did you think? Because this is where I'm interested. What did you think of the landlords in this movie?
Okay, the landlords. This is like surprise after. It's like you got three doors, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you open the door and there's a different surprise behind every door. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like that's what kept happening like with this movie. It's just like so the landlord dude is, you know, he first of all, he's shooting up the house,
Yeah.
you know, shooting at the walls because it, you know, roaches running through the walls and all this type of shit. Then he turned
Mm-hmm.
back around, the walls ain't got no holes in them.
Right.
It's like like the house kept like repairing itself somehow. This motherfucker just walking around with a shotgun, just shooting up shit, and then like the house is fine. But like that's number one. But then like the surprise that this motherfucker put on what do you call those suits? The people that like goddamn uh what you call that shit? Like when people doing like the sex slave shit. Some motherfucker
Oh,
threw
the
on a whole
BDSM
black
suit.
leather suit. Yo, I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? It's like
yeah,
what?
that shit
Like
was
where did
crazy.
this come from in the storyline? It's
That shit was
like
crazy.
so I'm watching this and I'm like, I think that they just said, yo, what is the weirdest shit we can come up with? Like
Absolutely.
I want to put a whole bunch of weird shit just in one movie that makes absolutely no sense. Now, in some cases, in most cases, that can be cool because you
Hmm.
really can throw a lot of people off because it could be something that people never really seen before. So that's the one cool part about it. But it's just for me seeing it as an adult, and that's one thing. Like what I try to do when I watch older movies that I've never seen before, I try to put myself in that mindset, right?
Hmm.
Now, granted, I can't really put myself in a child mindset, but just more of like, okay, this is what things were like in 1991. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I tried to put myself in that shoes, but it was just
Hmm.
the landlord for me. Like he was just such a weird dude, and the lady was even weirder. She's really the one. Like the whole shit of like when so when they show the woman come into the room and the girl is sitting there, right? And you see the hand go back into the wall. And so the lady takes a plate and she's like, okay. She's like, did you lick the plate? And she was like, no, mother, I didn't lick the plate. And so then she goes to walk out and then she's like, there was a fork. I gave you a fork. Where's the fork? And so the girl is like going around looking for the fork and shit. And then you see the hand come back out and give her the fork. And then the lady just kept looking. I'm like, yo, hold on. I'm saying like, yo, what these people got me watching, yo? Like, I'm like, I'm like, what they got me watching? Because then, dude, it was just so they was so weird to me, and like I've never seen these people before. I think that they
Hmm.
did a good job. I think the actors did a good job playing these people, but it was just the fact
Absolutely.
that just how weird they were, and it really threw me off. But there's something that I gotta say. I've been holding this right, so we got to talk about food real quick. You know what I'm saying? Played
Yeah.
by Brandon Quinton Adams. Now I know a lot of people know him from obviously the obvious movie. To me, in my eyes, is The Sandlot. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and also he played in the Mighty Ducks joints. But
Yeah.
when I saw this kid, you may get it, but those aren't the first movies I thought about when I saw it because I didn't know who was in this movie. I just, you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
got it and started watching it. So I didn't look at anything. But when I saw that dude, I was like, yo, that's my dude from the Smooth Criminal video.
Man.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, yo, that's the little kid from Smooth Criminal. You know what I'm saying? He was imitating Mike, you know what I'm saying, outside. I was like, yo, that's the little dude. But but
Hmm.
yeah, like once I realized like who he was, I was like, damn, like this dude, like he was one of those dudes that was you know what I'm saying, a child actor that it seems it's the thing about some child actors, I don't know if like they kind of grow out of it, but it seems like the people who had like not, like don't get me wrong, there's some who still out here doing it. You know, Macaulay Culkin, he's came back. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a child actor. You know what I mean? Like there's some people who keep it pushing, but it's like, but even a guy like oh man, Brandon something. I think it's I forget what his last name is. But my dude that played in Soul Food, the little kid in Soul Food,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
like he was on a run, man. He was like in everything. He was in that. He was in Menace to Society. He was in Tales from the Hood.
Tales from
Like
the
he was
Hood.
in a
Yep.
whole yeah, he was in a whole bunch of shit. And it's like this kid, you know, he was in the Michael Jackson video. You know, he did this movie. He did Mighty Ducks. He did The Sandlot. And it's like I don't know if his prime years was just there. I don't really know what happened afterwards, but it was just
Hmm.
funny to see him in this movie. But as far as the landlords though, man, the landlords they was just super creepy, man. Super creepy. What was your thoughts about the landlord?
Um, man, the landlords were so like to me. I feel like they were perfect for this movie because like without them, it doesn't have that creepy factor to it. Because like Roach running through the walls is cool or whatever, but like when you see how he's like deformed and everything, for it being a horror movie, you expected, you know what I'm saying, something like that in the horror movie. What you don't expect is, you know what I'm saying, the married couple being as weird and awkward as they were. And because of that, I think that it added like that flair to it, right? Like it made you like, oh man, like something ain't right about none of this shit. Like you could tell, like these motherfuckers, 100% weirdos. You know what I'm saying? Like even the way like that they were treating the girl,
Mm-hmm.
like it was this weird sense of like it wasn't like a loving relationship. It was like a control thing. Like you knew something was up. Like you was like in your head, you like, man, this can't be their daughter the way like they got her locked up in the room. She can't go nowhere. She can't do nothing. She ain't got no friends. She can't go outside. And then it's like when they killed the little boy, I was like, oh yeah, this is something totally different. But like, I think they did a hell of a job at these roles though, because like I said, you talking about your worst fear. My worst fear would have been like coming to this house and meeting them. I think they brought the they really brought the scary into this movie. Like they made you wanna, you know, what I'm saying like they brought that fear factor in for sure. Um, they both was ugly as shit. You know what I'm saying? So that helped out a lot. I don't know if that was makeup or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? That the look of it all helped out a lot. I mean, the from the look to the acting, you know what I'm saying, to the way that like the way the mother was talking to her and shit, like that was weird as fuck. Cause like who talks to their child that way, and who has their kid call them mother? You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that make you. It's like it was like a weird cult feel. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it was just everything about it. Like everything about the relationship between them and the girl was just so off. You kind of you know what I'm saying? Like was skeptical about everything as soon as they came into the movie, and then not only that, like you said, like he's shooting the wall, and then like you turn around and ain't no holes in the wall. You know what I mean? Like like it just everything about them was so fucked up, bro. I think it just added to the mystique of this scary movie.
Now, I just want to something just popped in my head, right? So
Hmm.
when you look at the timetable, um, when you look at 88, 89, 90, 91 and shit, right? Because the movie came out in
Hmm.
91, Wes Craven. So in the mix of this, there's a lot of Freddy shit going on. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He got his hit, because at the time he had, let me see, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare came out in 91. The same year People Under the Stairs came out. And so
Hmm.
he was doing like a whole bunch of TV series and shit, like Freddy's Nightmares had 44 episodes. He had the only other shit that he had came out like around that time was Shocker, which came out in '89, and
Hmm.
then he had People on The People Next Door, which was a TV series. It was 10 episodes of that. So then you have people you got the People Under the Stairs and shit, and it's just like. But then even after that, like there's just still a whole bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street shit going on.
Right.
And I don't know if this was a movie where he was just, well, Wes was like, yo, like I want to do something different. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm so caught up in this Freddy franchise shit to where I'm getting TV series built off of this. I got video games being built off this. I
Yeah.
just got like everything is built around Freddy. Like his whole reputation is Freddy at this point. And
Hmm.
so it's like with having People Under the Stairs, I don't know if it was something to where it was. Now this is the thing about Wes Craven, and I don't know if a lot of people. I mean, he said it in interviews before, and he also, if y'all seen the new Nightmare, which is one of my favorite ones, is like he has a reputation of he's a person who he would keep a notepad by his bed because he would dream about shit and he would write it all down and like that's where he got like a lot of his movie ideas and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yo, I wish he was still alive because we need to talk, Wes. Like, was this a
Absolutely.
dream? Because
Yeah.
this is a sick dream, yo.
But
This,
this is the interesting thing about this movie in particular, right? So like if you can real quick, look up when Children of the Corn came out.
oh man, that's my joint.
Yeah,
So
so
Children
like
of the Corn.
so this is like right off of the height of the horror movie franchise, like the horror movie like golden years, right? Because like to me the 80s was like the perfect time for horror movies.
Okay, so
And
the first
go
the
ahead.
first Children of the Corn came out in 1984.
Right. So that's already, you know what I'm saying, in that weird lane, right? And then
Hmm.
if you think about like Children of the Corn, it ain't too many movies that's kind of like that. Like we had like Pet Cemetery, we had Children of the Corn, um, maybe like The Hills Have Eyes or something like that. But it ain't too
Yeah,
many movies in that lane to where it's like it's scary, but it's like weird scary. And
yeah,
even after Wes Craven had did something like this, and even after those movies, we didn't have another one until like shit, Rob Zombie or we didn't have another original one until Rob Zombie started coming into the mix and start doing like House of a Thousand Corpses and shit like that, right?
hmm,
And like even if you think of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's kind of in this lane, but it's also kind of in that classic horror movie lane with the slasher film. Because you know what I'm saying, you got the Leatherface character with
yeah,
um with other versions of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You can actually do that movie without Leatherface, to be honest, because of the family, and it would be in this lane. And that's kind of how I view this movie because I felt like he wanted to get out of, in a weird way, maybe like he wanted to get out of that Freddy Krueger shadow. Cause like you said,
hmm,
Freddy Krueger was like huge. Everything was Freddy Krueger. They had a Freddy Krueger hotline. Will Smith did the Nightmare on My Street song. Like it was a bunch of different stuff going on with Freddy Krueger. So much so, like he became more so. I think he became almost bigger than Jason and Michael Myers and all them. I think Jason kind of had that and then he lost it and then got it back. But like it was a time where Freddy Krueger was the slasher, and so him branching off and doing people under the stairs is a little different because now like there is no like this one. This is a movie where it's not one killer, right? And it's really not
yeah,
even a killer. It's really just a creepy ass movie at the end of the day. Like when you really watch it, like it ain't too many deaths in the movie. So I think that him doing something like this, it kind of, especially how creative it was too. Because if you really go back and watch it for like what it is, it's a super creative movie because it's not a bunch of, so like I said, like it's not a slasher film.
hmm,
It's a horror film still, but it's really not a lot of killing in the movie. And then you know what I'm saying, like it's just one of those movies to where it's realistic enough for you to know it could possibly happen, but at the same time, it's still cinematic enough for you to know, like, all right, this is a little too off kilt. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something off about this. So, like, I think he had a perfect mix of this, and then like when you look at stuff like Children of the Corn, you don't like to me like that's a scary movie, but that's not like super scary because when the fuck are you gonna find yourself around some cornfields? You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't something that everybody can relate to. But this one, I think everybody could relate to because we all know, like we all grew up, and there was that one house that had like either an old lady or like an old couple in it, where we was like, yeah, don't go to that house. That's Mister Such and Such's house, or that's Miss Such and Such's house. And, you know what I'm saying? It was always a myth or a legend behind it. And so, like when he put this on film, I think that everybody was able to. get that fear and understand why this is a horror movie because we all heard those, you know what I'm saying, those scary stories about that one house in the neighborhood or that one house on the block or street or, you know what I'm saying, wherever you grew up at. And we've all had that where it was like an old man that was either, you know what I'm saying, living in the house and the house was dilapidated and the yard wasn't cut and stuff like that. And it was like a rundown house, but he was always telling you get off his grass or stuff like that or get away from his fence. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. So when you see this on film and you see that, you know what I'm saying, this old ass couple who basically kidnapping these kids and they talking about they adopting them, it's like, oh shit, like this is some shit that could really happen. And I think people kind of gravitated towards that because I don't think this was like I don't remember this being like a super huge movie, but I still remember people watching this movie and was like, yo, this shit is scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think situationally it's scary.
Yeah.
I think that yeah, if you found yourself in that situation, it would be scary because just of all of the creepy shit that's going on. I mean, you got this weird dude in this leather suit, you know what I'm saying, covered from head to toe with a shotgun, just shooting at
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's like,
Right.
yeah, like that's kind of crazy. And then like your reason is going in there because like the reason him and Leroy and the other guy even went in there in the first place is because his mother, yes, his mother was sick. She had cancer, couldn't afford any treatments, and they was getting evicted. And so
Mm-hmm.
Leroy was like, "Yo, I heard a story that he got all of this, gold in there. We need to go in there and get this gold." So it's like, yo, when your back is against the wall, you're gonna do shit that you know what I'm saying you don't normally do. So I understand why
Absolutely.
they went into the house in the first place. But I don't think anyone expected for it to go down the way that it went down. Then you had this crazy ass dog, and it was so funny. It was one of the scenes. Like if you look, like
Mm-hmm.
when Vin Rames, like when they cut and they tried to cut real quick, and you could see this another dude, like you can see is the body double.
Yeah.
That was so funny to see the body doubles in there. But so just seeing like the body double and shit like that. But like it, it's I think in that situation, like yes, like it's scary. And then like when the girl Alice was like, "Yo, like nobody gets out of here." She was just like, "Yo,
Mm-hmm.
anybody who ever came in here, they never got out." And so
Right.
once Food figured out how to get out, and then he ended up coming back, to save the girl or whatever, whatnot. But but yeah, like I see what you're saying. Like situationally, it is a scary movie, but like for me seeing it for the first time as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
like that shit is wild. But then another thing that's dope about watching old movies is that the girl that was his sister, yo, do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Yo, she's the girl from House Party, yo. She was the girl that was like, yo, like step off. Like she was the one that had like the one shirt on. She was at the party and like she was kind of like she was pissed off uh when Crew was it no Groove was drunk one. What was the other one name? Damn, I forget what the other dude name was. They had the black hair kept bumping into the DJ table.
Oh,
Remember, cause he was trying to holler at her
it started with
and
an X.
like Smooth. Was it
Smooth.
Smooth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Smooth. Yeah, Smooth tried to holler at her a couple times, and she was like, "Yo, step off." And it was so funny
Yeah.
seeing her because that was the only other thing I ever seen her in was fucking
Right.
House Party. Well, the original House Party, people, because now you gotta, what I'm saying, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
throw that out there now. But but like she was his sister or whatnot. But but yeah, like I think honestly, it's more. You know what? You brought up a great point when you brought up Rob Zombie. You said A House of a Thousand Corpses.
Mm-hmm.
That movie to me, it's not scary.
Right.
Situationally, yes, but it's more creepy, and also being in that situation is what makes it scary. But
Absolutely.
I think that that's what this movie ended up being. But like for me, just what I just can't stop seeing it just like all of the different storylines that came into it. And then like once like the people from the neighborhood they started riling together and it was just it was all, and then like the police showed up, and is these motherfuckers got, you know what I'm saying, the stairs where the bitches go, you know what I'm saying, they just go flat and make your ass
Mm-hmm.
slide back down there. Then you got this weird ass dog that they feeding the whole hand to. It's just like, yo,
Wild
it's like
shit.
what? Yeah, it's like what is going on? It's like Wes came up with all of the most outrageous shit that he could come up with, and I think that what he was trying to do was really be creative in his own way because Freddie took up so much of his 80s and 90s to
Mm-hmm.
where I think that all of the other movies that was coming out around this time, you know, when it came to the Pet Cemeteries, when it came to the child play movies, you know, the Friday the 13th and Halloween movies and all this type shit. I think that, and you brought up a good point, Children of the Corn, which was just super weird. Just and then for them to even take the route of adding religion to it. You know what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
far as a movie like Children of the Corn, because a lot of people didn't really play with a lot of that shit like that, especially back in the early '80s and shit. So,
Exactly.
I mean, the only other thing was The Exorcist, which came out in '73. But like,
Mm-hmm.
but really, other than that, it I don't really remember any other franchises or any other movies that really kind of touched the whole, you know, religion thing. And like going back and even watching Children of the Corn, which is being like a movie that came out in '84, it's just like, yeah, like a lot of this shit is super weird. You know, these kids take over this town, and one minute your car's good, you turn around, the car got corn growing out of it. It's just like, like, dude, yo, it was super, yo, it was super weird, man. And like that's what this movie was to me. Like it was just, it was a really, really weird movie, and I just really wanted to know like the headspace that Wes Craven was in, and I don't know if that he just came up with something so outrageous the way he's like, yo, like I'm gonna get them with this one because this
Yeah.
ain't got shit to do with Freddy. You know what I'm saying? This is a totally different lane, and but like you said, I've never even heard of this movie before,
Right.
like at all. So I don't know how successful this movie ended up being, but it couldn't have been something where it was just like where it really took over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me see. Okay, so this movie had a $6 million budget, and the opening weekend it made 5.2 million. No, 5.5 million, and it grossed 24.2 and worldwide 31.3. So I mean, look, he got his money back. He definitely way
Absolutely.
got his money back. You know what I'm saying? He almost got it
Absolutely.
back in opening weekend. So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, he did his thing with it, but I mean, it's also Wes Craven too. And then with him having a reputation that he has with the whole Freddy joint, I'm not surprised that it ended up doing what it did.
And I mean, if you think about it, like for the most part, I think that regardless of um really regardless of what he put out, I think that he was going to get the love for it anyway, only because of like I said, just the height of what I'm saying, everything that Freddie was doing at the time. I think that his name became so big because I think like after this he did like what was the one Ghost on Mars. He had around like either a little bit a couple years after this or something like that. I think that came out in the early '90s. Um, I want to say it came out like '94, '95.
Let me see. New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason, Freddy vs. Ghostbusters. What the fuck? No, dude, the '90s, dude, he didn't really. Hold on, wait a minute, something ain't right here. Oh, that's what he's a writer of. That's why. Because I was about to say, yo, I didn't even see Scream, yo. Because
Yeah.
Scream came out in '96. Let me see. See, that's still on the writer. See what
But
he
like he
directed.
had CD, yeah, like I was saying, I didn't even get the Scream there because I know Ghost on Mars came out before Scream.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so as far as directing, so he had People on the Stairs in 91. He had Nightmare Cafe. Well, that was one episode. So New Nightmare in 94. Then he had Vampires in Brooklyn in 95. And Scream
Right,
in
but that was a
96.
comedy.
Scream in 97. Um, Music of the Hearts in 99. Nah, I don't see that as a director or a
He
writer.
didn't do good. Didn't wasn't he involved in Ghost on Mars? What was he? It was he had something else other than Scream.
Um, so under producer, and now I don't even think in producer because you got Hollywood, Don't Look Down, Carnivals of Souls, Wishmaster, Mind Ripper. Let me see, Laurel Canyon.
I remember
Nah, I'm not. I'm
Wishmaster.
not seeing
Wishmaster
that.
was wild too. Well, maybe that wasn't him on Ghost on Mars. For some reason I was thinking he had something to do with Ghost on Mars. But like even up until that point though, because of what he did with Freddie, um, everything that he did after that, people were going to see regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like just I mean, even when Scream came out, Scream was so big that the Wayans had a whole franchise of spoofs off of Scream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
and it was a great movie at the end of the day. But it just went to show you that what he did with Freddie, he was able to do pretty much with. I mean, if you think about it, he could have did with anything. I mean, shit, he did it with Scream. Like we got another Scream movie coming out soon. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? He turned that franchise into something major. So I mean, I think that after everybody realized, you know what I'm saying, exactly what he was capable of, I think that when they heard his name attached to anything as far as like the horror genre, I think they were eager to get out and go see it only because they knew it was a possibility it could be something, you know what I'm saying, amazing.
I feel you, man. But I'm sitting here looking at horror movies that came out in '91. Yo, it was a
Hmm.
bad year, yo. Like
Run
bad.
them down.
Man, I mean, the only thing that I've even heard of, so I heard of the Puppy Master, and it's Puppy Master Part 3.
Puppet Master was good.
Um, but I didn't see it though. You got Freddy's
Oh, okay.
Dead. Like I said, he had both of those come out that year, and Child's
Hmm.
Play 3. All the rest of these joints, I've never seen them or heard of them. I've never heard of Children of the Night. You know what I'm saying? Higher in the House, The Borrower. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never heard the Golden Years, Body Parts. I've
Hmm.
never heard of any of this shit.
Yeah, I had never heard that either.
Mom, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, the Boneyard. I've never heard of any. Okay, the Omen. Which part is that? 4. I didn't see that one. The Awakening.
Okay.
Never watched that one. Something they something they come back. I've never heard of these movies. The Hunted. Yo, this was a bad year for horror, yo. This was bad. That's why this movie did what it
And this
did.
is
They had
all
nothing else to
91?
watch. Yeah, this is all 91. The Unborn,
Mm.
Scissors, Dangerous
I remember.
Game.
I think I remember the Unborn.
I've seen the new one.
That may
The
be
one
what it
that
is
came out
then.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay, that's what
I
I'm thinking
seen
of
that
then.
one. Yeah, this is a different one. Like Warlock, Nightlife.
I
I've
remember
never heard of
Warlock.
these movies.
Warlock was pretty good.
Yeah, The Sandman. Like this. Yeah, this wasn't a good
I
year.
think I remember the same man.
This was not a good year. So I understand why. Um, but then like for me, honestly, I think
Hmm.
that's what Scream was able to do because for me, like the movies were kind of starting to be more misses and hits, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
not that there wasn't any good ones, because Candyman came out in '92.
Hmm.
So And then like the child play movies, they wasn't out of control yet. Like when it started getting crazy, it was like the Bride of Chucky and shit. It's like, okay, y'all took this shit too far. Like, y'all need to stop. But like, I felt like the '90s is where I don't know where people start to get like too creative and
Yeah.
like they just kind of like ran out of ideas or something. But that's why I think that Wes Craven is the legend that he is because he was able to completely come out of the woodworks with Freddy, and it completely changed the
Mhm.
world. And then he was
Right.
able to reinvent himself and come out with Scream. And like you said, like there's a new one coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like and he, I think this month, if I'm not mistaken, I think it come out like next week or something like that.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to have like a whole nother franchise, and this is when in the mix of people telling him, "Yo, you can't do anything other than Freddy." Like he was like in a sense typecast to where it's like, "Yo, Freddy,
Mhm.
Freddy is your money maker. You can't do anything outside of that." And
Man, how wrong were
even
they?
yeah, and like even though people under the stairs, you know what I'm saying, end up grossing what I say like 30, 35 million or something like that when he only put in
Mhm.
six. I really think that a lot of that was really just from the success that he had from Freddie. Well, people were just like, okay, so Wes Craven got his name involved in it. I'm gonna go see it. I really think that's
Right.
what it came from. But like you said, if you thinking from a '91 mind state, it's like okay, like watching this, and then it's so wild seeing Vin Rames in it because I had no idea he was in this shit.
Yeah.
And then like it was funny seeing him in this man, and then like you know what I'm saying for him dying the way that he died, and then like it was so funny because the one dude went in that's like he's trying to oh man like he was like a he had like he was like an electrician or some shit like that, but
Mhm.
that was funny. But nah, like, but the landlord they fucked up though, man. Oh, fool, he was able to find the room without the money in it and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
That was
so
crazy that it actually ended up being true, which was wild.
it is because my man, my old man from New Jack City, you know what I'm saying? He had like this motherfucker had like 5 gold coins, and he was like, "Yo, you gonna be able to get your mama her treatment, pay your rent for like a year." Like
Hey,
he
that I
said some other
mean,
shit too.
in '91 though, you know what I'm saying? Some gold coins that could have got you some stuff, man.
Man,
Remember, gas was
apparently,
gas was only like 80 something cent a gallon.
man, they need to bring that back. But
Absolutely.
I was watching. What damn was that? This movie? I was watching some movie, and like the dude was on the phone, and like one of those gas price thing was right behind them, and the gas was
Mhm.
like 76 cents. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying,
damn,
man. Like, you know
boy.
what I'm saying? Gas was super cheap.
Yeah,
So I
man, we
mean,
need to go
like if
back.
you had a gold coin, if you could have got, I don't know, maybe 150,000 out of that, you'd have been the man.
Man, apparently, because he only gave that old dude like 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them
That's
joints,
that's what I'm saying,
and
man.
he was talking about he said that he could pay for his mama's treatment. You know what I'm saying? Have the ambulance come scoop her up. He was like, your rent is paid for like a year or some shit like that. And it was just like,
Beautiful.
yo, yeah, yeah. But there was a whole bunch of money down there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, but they was able to get the girl up out of there, and like, dude, when she came through the ceiling, I didn't see that shit coming. I ain't even lying. when when that lady was talking to a girl at the door, and
Yeah.
that girl came from the ceiling. Hey, but I was like, okay, yo, West wild for he wild for this one, man. I ain't playing.
Absolutely,
He
man.
he
Absolutely.
wild for this one.
So you know what I'm saying? After seeing this, you know what I'm saying? I'm always interested to hear like would you like to see a remake with all of the, you know what I'm saying, like with all of the with all of the
Okay, so we lost Scoots, and I think what he was trying to say was with all of the technology that we have today, all of the makeup and stuff that I have today. I was saying that this is why I think you was headed. I think that you was headed like
yeah,
with all of the new technology, with all of the new
yep,
makeup and all
yep,
of that type stuff. Would they be able to make this a better product?
yeah,
Um, the thing is everything they everyone in Hollywood is running out of new ideas. Um,
absolutely.
this is kind of like I was having a conversation with you off air a couple weeks ago
Uh-huh.
about the dunk contest, and I was
Yeah,
just like, "Yo, like the thing about the dunk contest, like there's not many more dunks that you can do, so
right.
it's just kind of like, can you look the best at doing dunks that's already been done?" And so what they're
Mhm.
doing is like they're recreating just a whole bunch of movies. I think that if they redid this movie, I think that the cast is very, very important.
Mhm.
I don't think that this could be a low budget type of thing. I think that if they got an entertaining cast, I think that this movie could definitely be better with all of the technology that we got today. Because like even back then, like this motherfucker like hit a piano and fucking gun came out that bitch. Like
Right.
so like in like all the little light switches and things that they had in the walls to lock doors and stuff like that, and to be able to create like a house that had like room to run in between the walls and things like that. I think if they got the right cast people, I think that they could pull off a good movie. The only problem is a lot of the remakes just haven't been as good as the original. But then, in my opinion, this original wasn't that good. So
Yeah.
it's like, do I think that they could redo it and make it better? Don't get me wrong. There's some that's been better. Like I think the newer Hill Has Eyes, which is Wes Craven. I think the newer ones was better than the old ones. Um,
Mhm.
he also did Last House on the Left. I think the newer one was better than the old one. So I think that this is something that they could go back and redo. Man, yo, that's a movie we need to do, yo. Last
What's
House
that?
on the Left.
Yeah, that movie
That
is wild.
That movie's wild, but it's like
Yeah.
once like you see like what it really is and like how vital and man that shit was crazy. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that would be a good movie to do. But I think so, man. I think the cast is really important. Especially for Fool and the
Mhm.
two landlords and Leroy.
Yeah.
Like they get those four people right. I think that they could do something really good. So yeah, I think if they
Mhm.
remade this movie, I mean, will I go to the movies to go watch it? Probably not. But like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, hit streaming, you know what I'm saying, throw that bad boy on Netflix. Oh yeah, I'll be in. How about you?
I would definitely be interested in seeing them remake this. Only because like, especially right now, it seems like we at this weird time where all they want to do is remake movies, and they want to just keep coming out with reboots and remakes and all this other stuff. And it's like the stuff that they coming out with the remake and reboot just really ain't, you know,
It
it
ain't
it,
slapping.
it yeah, it don't seem like it's fitting in this time period, especially with everything that's going on as far as like everybody being so PC and everything like that. And I feel like a movie like this is definitely in need because you can't be PC with a movie like this. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those things. This is one of those things like where you have to be all in on this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that like if we can have a movie like this out, then it could kind of, you know what I'm saying, give some lenience to people being more creative and people being more edgy and, you know what I'm saying, willing to take more risk and being, you know what I'm saying, and being more free, you know what I'm saying, in their creativeness without having to worry about if this is going to get talked about wrong or if it's going to get taken down or so on and so forth. Like, we don't have to worry about something like that when we can just get, you know what I'm saying, a good, solid movie that has, you know what I'm saying, that is not affected by any of that.
I feel you. I feel you because, man, as of late, like, look, I will say this: I've only seen the trailer, but
Hmm.
there was so one of my joints, like that was my number one, was Luther, which is not a remake. But the point that I'm making is the other one is the second installment of Evil Dead. That shit
Yeah,
looks so fire.
it looked amazing.
But if they're able to go that route instead of going the route of like that new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out on Netflix,
Hmm.
that was terrible.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
true.
terrible, man.
I
Like the
must agree.
whole now if they like I say if they keep this plot line and keep it to like yo we completely remaking this movie with newer technology and different actors. I think that they could do something with it because I think the plot is so crazy and it's so all over the place. Like there is definitely potential there. So I mean I wouldn't be mad at it, but I also don't believe that this would be a theater release. I do believe that this would be something that would be on Prime or Netflix, Hulu, somewhere in that realm, Peacock. More than likely, probably something like
Hmm.
Peacock. Um, but yeah, I don't think that this movie would be a theater type of release type of movie. I just don't think that they got that type of juice. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. I agree. I definitely agree. I don't think it would be either. I would think that it, like you said, something like maybe Netflix or maybe Amazon Prime or, you know what I'm saying, maybe if like a Hulu or something picked it up, then I could possibly see it. Then that would be kind of cool. But I would like to see it. You know what I'm saying? At least be attempted to be remade because to me, I feel like that. Like if you gonna remake something, right? Like I think that you should shoot for something that's at least a little edgy, and like even if like to me, I feel like so like when the Hills Have Eyes was remade, for all those people who never seen the original Hills Have Eyes, like this shit was off the wall. I was one of those people who never seen the old school Hills Have Eyes. So to see this one, like the newer ones, yo, they instantly became some of my favorite horror movies only because like to me it fit that classic horror genre. Even though it didn't necessarily have the, I'm saying, the prototypical slasher or anything like that, it still was a great horror film. And I feel like with the new horror films we've been getting recently, none of these films are horror films. They're thrillers, they're suspenseful, but they're not horror films. They don't, to me, they don't fill in like that macabre genre. And like a movie like X was a perfect refresher to the horror film. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Going back and watching that, you actually see and even you know what I'm saying, even though they had to set it back, you know what I'm saying, in the 60s, 70s time or whatever, but even doing that, it still made it a good film to watch. It made it a great horror film to me because like can you even can you even think of some of the newer horror films that can compare to X at this point in time?
Newer,
Yeah.
like I said, man, Evil Dead, man. Like
I mean
I think
besides that one,
Besides that one, as far as like flat out horror, I mean, no, not as of late. Like if you're talking, it depends on how far you talking about going back because
Right.
so Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one that they remade in 2003, that shit was fire. That was the best they ever done with this whole franchise. Was the one that came out in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
The one that came out in 2005, it was good, but it wasn't as good
Right.
as 2003. But as of late, like flat out horror movies, like nah,
And
I
that's what
don't,
I'm
I don't,
saying,
I
bro.
don't,
Like,
I don't think so. But I'm gonna tell you what puts this in that perfect category though is it's not necessarily a classic. I think that's where a lot of the mistakes go. Like
mm-hmm,
they got this, they rebooting the Exorcist or whatever, and I don't
mm-hmm,
know how I feel about it. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna see it, but like when you go down that route of taking a movie that is considered like a cult classic and you try to remake it,
yeah,
if that shit ain't flawless, everybody's gonna kill you for it.
yeah. Because I
And
mean,
I
it's gonna
think
be
that
a waste of time.
yeah, so I think people under the stairs is in that perfect spot because it's a movie that, you know what I'm saying, that people know, but it isn't something that I believe, in my opinion, that a lot of people go back to. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's one of those things where it's like, okay, like yeah, like we can redo this. Like even a movie like Amityville Horror, right? I mean, look how many times they have redone that shit.
Right.
So it's like when you watch the original that came out, you know, in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 74. Like, I mean, it was good, but like when you see the one in '03, it's like, okay, yeah, they knocked that one out the park.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Amityville Horror, I don't think it was seen as just, you know what I'm saying, as this flawless movie. And I think that People Under the Stairs isn't like a flawless movie. So I think that if they made the attempt to remake it, I think that this movie fits that criteria. Because there's some stuff you
Yeah.
just don't go back and you touch. And I think that this is a movie that you could go back and if you get the right four people, I think that it could be better than the original.
I agree, man. I truly agree. I hope that when they start picking these movies to reboot and remake and um they actually put some thought into it and they really think about the the impact that it's gonna have on these, what I'm saying, like on the future of these decisions, because it's like some of the stuff that they remaking and rebooting is, man, I'm sorry, it's just not, it's not up to par, and it's really not worth going to see. Like the fact that some, like even some of these movies that they're just coming up with in general, like, what I'm saying, I don't want to diss on it, and it's really like no disrespect to it, but like if you even think about it, like The Woman King, bro, The
Hmm.
Woman King was out for maybe what, a month and a half in the theaters, if that, and it was already on Netflix.
What I think it depends on who own it
I mean, yeah, that
and
that is
the
true. That is true. But I mean,
because
like,
because House Party was the same way, but House Party is Warner Brothers. HBO Max
mhm,
is is with Warner Brothers,
mhm.
so it hit HBO Max really fast.
But I
So
don't think the new House Party did well in theaters though.
I mean, this is true. This is true.
Woman King is actually one of those movies that did well in theaters.
Okay, Wakanda Forever. It was on Disney Plus last month.
Yeah, but that's, I think, okay. So like for that, I know, I see what you're saying. But to me, the only thing that I will say about that is that recently these last few Disney movies um that's been in theaters, they've had a long run in theaters before they even hit. However, a lot of them are going straight to Disney Plus only because they're trying to hurry up and rebuild that catalog. Because that Marvel catalog on that app has been stagnant for a minute. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get as much content on there as possible.
I feel you.
So I think that's the only difference with the Marvel movies. But it's like, to me, a movie like Woman King doing as well as it did, for it to be out and then to be on Netflix that fast, because usually it'll just be for rent for a minute
Uh-huh.
and then it'll end up on Netflix. That's what I'm trying to say. That's maybe I should have said that. Like the fact that it was instantly just on Netflix, it wasn't even out for rent that long, or at least to buy that long, and then it instantly got on Netflix, just kind of showing like either they're trying to hurry up and keep up with, you know what I'm saying, the whole streaming thing, and have, you know what I'm saying, be able to put out fresh content as much as possible, especially with some of these bigger movies. Because I mean, even though you know what I'm saying, the movie theaters open up and a lot of people are going to them, I don't think they're doing what they used to in numbers. Only because of all the other options, you know what I'm saying, that people have in watching, you know what I'm saying, movies, or you know what I'm saying, anything that's coming out. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this new stuff that they coming out with is just it's just not up to par to me.
I will say
There hasn't been anything that I've really wanted to see as of late besides like the Cocaine Bear movie.
I feel you, but I tell you another movie before we get to the Fire Flames is Megan.
Yeah,
Like that was out the theaters pretty fast, and then when it was available to rent, it was like it felt like it was like 2 weeks, and then
yeah,
like
and
next
it was
thing you
right on
know,
streaming.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I just think that's just the new wave of the world, man. It's just like now, like a movie like Luther, like what they did was what Martin Scorsese did, like to be able, like the only way you can get Oscar nods is it has to hit theaters.
hmm,
So Luther was in select theaters in February, but it was already originally a Netflix
yeah. I was gonna say
movie.
it was already a part of Netflix anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, so they just put it out in theaters just in case, like, yo, if this movie becomes successful as we think it could be, the only way we can get, Oscar nods and shit like that is if that we hit the theaters first. So it hit the theaters
hmm,
for a month and then it comes out this Friday. So yeah, I just think that that's just the new wave of everything, man. Because like, there's no more video stores. You know what I'm saying? Like people, I mean, people ain't really even buying DVD players anymore. So it's just like, so that's cutting down shit like Redbox and shit like that. So I mean, that's just really the new wave, man. And then it's like, okay, so I understand why some movies do it. Because they just like, yo, like let's see how much money we can make in the box office before we put this shit on streaming services. But I also think that some of the people they may not have made the money that they thought they was gonna make. And
hmm,
so they were just like, well, let's just go ahead and just throw this shit on streaming services because maybe somebody like Amazon is like, all right, we'll give y'all, you know, I don't know, 10 million or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are, but like,
right.
well, let us buy the rights of it, and y'all just get a flat fee. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So maybe maybe they did a movie where they had a budget of 20 million, and they only made 10 million in the theaters, and like Prime is like, yo, we'll give you 15, so you make a $5 million profit, and they just like, all right, throw that shit on streaming services, and like we get something on the back end as far as like how many times it's being watched and streamed, and they get
Yeah,
certain, you know what I mean? I think that's probably some of the case, man. I think a lot of this shit is money driven.
man. I'm really hoping you're right, bro. I'm really hoping you're right because I don't know, man. It's not looking too good for these movies coming out, man. But hopefully all that'll be a little different and all that'll change up, and we'll finally get something that we actually looking forward to besides a Marvel movie this time around. All right, man. So let's go ahead and get into our I'm about to say coming soon. Fire Flame.
Let's do
Yoga
it.
fire. Yoga flame.
All right, man. So what you giving this movie, bro?
People under the stairs. As far as the cast, like I said, man, my little dude, that was Michael Jackson. Well, he wasn't
Hmm.
Michael Jackson. But I recognize him. I recognize the girl that was I only seen her in House Party though. Vin Raines is a legend out here in these streets. Um so the cast is kind of subpar. To me, the movie was kind of subpar. Even though you got a legend who did the movie. Um but if I gotta be honest, man, like I'm saying, I gotta give this joint like a two, yo. Like,
Mm.
what I'm saying? I'm honest, like I'll probably never watch this shit ever again. Um
That's hilarious.
Yo, but on the real tip though, shout out to Jazz though.
For
I
sure. Thank
appreciate
you.
the
Thank
I
you.
appreciate the suggestion because just to do something outside of the box that I don't know if you ever would have brought it up, but just to do something different. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. We had fun with that.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't even think I would have brought this one up. Only, and not because it's a bad movie, only because this is one of those movies where I hadn't watched in a very very long time, and this is one of those childhood movies where, like I said, when I seen it as a kid, I was like, yo, keep that shit away from me. Because of how creepy it was. However, though, what I am gonna do is I'm not gonna go as low as you did. I'm definitely gonna go a bump up, and I'm gonna go 3.5. And the reason I'm going 3.5 is because of, excuse me, the time that this movie had came out, um, and the fact that Wes Craven decided to go out on a limb and go outside of Freddy Krueger to do something different and try and see if he can get that same if he can get that that same success. And I don't think he did, but I still think that this is one of those cult classics that if you are into horror movies, if you do like scary movies, this is one for you to definitely check out. um it is entertaining. It's one of those movies that you know, once you start watching it, you are going to be glued to it. You're gonna want to watch this one. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, if you are a fan of horror, this is gonna be right up your alley. It's a tad bit different, but it's definitely worth the watch. I'm going 3.5
Cool deal. I ain't mad at it.
for sure, for sure. So man, that was that, man. Let's get into the coming soon.
Do it.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right, so you guys already know what we got next, man. We got the next episode of Snowfall, episode 4 of season 6. It's been getting heated up. You know what I'm saying? We got Leon back. We got the beef between Franklin and Jerome. We got the KGB versus the CIA. Everything is seeming like it's coming to a halt. Um, I'm super excited about this episode. I cannot wait to do this one.
Man, me and you both, man. Like this series, man, it's one of those things where you sad to see it go, but then at the same
Hmm.
time, you want to see how it ends and see if they end this shit right. There have been a
Absolutely.
few franchises, like I say, like I got mixed feelings still about like The Sopranos. You know what I'm saying? How it ended
Yeah.
without it was one of those endings where it left you like where you had to kind of make the decision of what you think happened.
Hmm.
And so and then like one of my favorite shows ended earlier this year. No, no, it was the end of last year actually. I'm mistaken. Animal Kingdom, and it was just good to see them, close it out. And I think that they
Yeah.
closed it out pretty good. So to me, it just really depends on like, is they gonna end this shit right? Like
Mhm.
that's what I'm interested in seeing because Snowfall is a show that I could see myself going back to like 3 years down the road. It's like, man, you know what? Let me rewatch Snowfall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So this is definitely one of those shows. So yeah, it is definitely heating up though.
I definitely agree with that, man. So you guys stay tuned. You know what I'm saying. Make sure that you keep those notifications on. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way, when we drop an episode, you will know. Once again, shout out to Jazz. Thank you very, very much. We greatly appreciate you dropping this movie off for us, and you know what I'm saying, giving us something to you know what I'm saying, talk about this episode. Um, Another shout out to you for sure. And listen, if you guys like this episode, if you love children under the stairs, I mean, sorry, people under the stairs. If you didn't like people under the stairs, hit us up on socials. Let us know. On Twitter and Instagram at ViewAnonPod, and then you can hit us up on Facebook at VA Pod Watch Group. Also, if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Schools Bronson. You know what I'm saying? Drop me a tweet, say what's up. And you can follow me everywhere else. I got a link tree in my bio. That's where all my other links are.
And y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter at 28 minutes or less pod. That's just on Instagram. Follow the podcast 28 minutes or less. I mean, if anybody knows me, y'all already know what the next episode is going to be of that podcast. Like, you already know. You know what I'm saying? The movie of the year is coming out Friday. It's not no surprise what the next episode is going to be. So be on the lookout for that. But that's all I got right now, man.
Cool, man. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, your support is greatly appreciated. Without you, there would be no us. But like they say in Hollywood, I'm sorry, until next time, like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.